The unthinkable is happening at Caesars Palace. Vegas's most legendary casino is hemorrhaging customers so fast that industry insiders are calling it a death spiral. Last Saturday night at 9 p.m., the iconic baccarat room had more dealers than players. The Forum Shops, once America's highest-grossing mall, now looks like a recession hit. Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen has walk-in availability on weekends. The Colosseum is curtaining off entire sections because they can't sell tickets. This is the house that hosted Sinatra and Ali, where every president since Nixon walked through its doors, and it's collapsing in real time. But here's what should terrify anyone who loves Vegas. When Caesars Palace falls, it doesn't fall alone. What I'm about to reveal in our number 1 goes beyond one casino's failure. Number 10. The Empire's Hollow Crown. Walk through Caesars Palace on what should be a packed Saturday night, and you'll feel it immediately. Something's wrong. The energy that once made this property electric, that made you feel like you'd entered the center of the universe, has vanished. The Baccarat Room, where Asian high rollers once wagered millions while crowds gathered to watch, now operates with more dealers than players. Tables that required reservations sit empty with 25 minimums, begging for action that never comes. The main casino floor tells an even darker story. Whole sections of slot machines sit powered down to save electricity. The pit bosses who once managed chaos now stand around checking their phones, overseeing ghost towns of empty blackjack tables. The famous sports book, renovated just 5 years ago for $12 million, regularly has more employees than bettors, even during NFL Sundays. One dealer, speaking anonymously, described it perfectly. This place used to hum with energy. Now it feels like we're working in a mausoleum with slot machines. The Colosseum, Caesars' 4,300-seat crown jewel that hosted Celine Dion's legendary residency, can't fill half its seats even with A-list performers. Adele's residency succeeds, but other shows struggle to move tickets even at 50% discounts. Rod Stewart performed to a room so empty that entire sections were curtained off. Jerry Seinfeld's recent run saw comp tickets flooding the market because they couldn't sell them at any price. The venue that once commanded $500 minimum tickets now papers the room just to avoid embarrassment. The Forum Shops, which we'll explore deeper later, echo with the footsteps of the few tourists still wandering through. The famous spiral escalator, an architectural marvel that once carried thousands daily, now runs empty most hours. The animatronic shows that delighted visitors for decades were turned off for maintenance 6 months ago and never restarted. Even the casino's iconic features feel abandoned. The Garden of the Gods pool oasis operates at partial capacity, with entire sections closed indefinitely. The 7 pools that should be packed with party-goers sit empty, except for a handful of confused hotel guests wondering where everyone went. This isn't normal Vegas fluctuation. This is collapse in real time. And when you understand the financial nightmare behind these empty spaces, the emptiness makes perfect, terrifying sense. Number 9. The debt monster eating Caesars alive. Caesars Entertainment carries a secret that would panic any customer if they truly understood it. The company is drowning in $9 billion of debt that consumes nearly $1 billion annually just in interest payments. Every dollar you spend at Caesars Palace doesn't go toward improving your experience. It goes toward preventing financial collapse. And that desperation is destroying the property from the inside out. The catastrophe began with the 2020 Eldorado acquisition, a $17.3 billion deal that was supposed to create America's largest casino company. Instead, it created a debt monster that requires constant feeding. Caesars now spends $2.5 million every single day on interest alone. Not improvements, not staff, not maintenance, just interest. That's money that could renovate entire hotel towers, restore the Forum Shops, or actually fix the 1,000 things breaking down daily. The cost-cutting measures read like a corporate suicide note. Housekeeping reduced from daily to every 3rd day, even for suite guests paying $800 nightly. The engineering staff cut by 40%, meaning broken elevators stay broken for weeks. The Augustus Tower's HVAC system, failing since 2021, won't be fixed because the $15 million repair cost is deemed non-essential. Guests report waiting 45 minutes for elevators that should be condemned. walking through hallways with stained carpets that haven't been replaced since 2008, and finding mold in bathrooms that nobody will address. But here's the truly insidious part. Caesars Entertainment is profitable on paper, generating nearly $11 billion in revenue. Yet every penny of profit goes toward debt service, leaving nothing for the properties themselves. Internal documents leaked to gaming industry analysts revealed the nightmare scenario. Caesars Palace needs $400 million in immediate repairs and renovations just to maintain 3-star quality. The company has allocated $35 million. The Palace Tower requires complete renovation at $200 million. The timeline? Indefinitely postponed. The financial engineering gets worse. Caesars sold the land under Caesars Palace to its own real estate investment trust, then leases it back for $165 million annually. They're literally paying rent on their own property, adding another layer of costs that prevent any meaningful investment. Credit rating agencies have downgraded Caesars bonds to barely above junk status. The math is inescapable. At current trajectory, Caesars Entertainment will need to sell properties or face bankruptcy within 3 years. And Caesars Palace, despite its iconic status, might be first on the auction block. Number 8. The Forum Shops Apocalypse. The Forum Shops at Caesars was once the undisputed king of American retail, generating $1,700 per square foot, more than Rodeo Drive, Fifth Avenue, or any mall in existence. Celebrities shopped there. Tourists planned entire trips around it. The artificial sky that changed from dawn to dusk was considered revolutionary. Today, that same sky cycles over a retail graveyard that would make any investor weep. Walk through those Roman streets now and count the casualties. Versace's flagship store gone, leaving 8,000 square feet of prime retail wrapped in black fabric. Valentino escaped in the night, their windows now papered over with "exciting new retailer coming soon," signs that have been there for 18 months. Balenciaga reduced their footprint by 60%. Even mainstream retailers like Banana Republic and Gap couldn't survive, abandoning ship for better opportunities. The vacancy rate has climbed to 35%, transforming what was once retail paradise into a depressing monument to decline. The spiral started when Caesars stopped investing in the property. While Wynn was building a $500 million retail expansion and Resorts World opened with cutting-edge shopping experiences, Caesars let the Forum Shops decay. The famous talking statues broke and were never fixed. The fountains that once dazzled now run at half capacity to save on maintenance. The air conditioning struggles making summer shopping unbearable. Retailers paying $500 per square foot in rent watched their sales crater as foot traffic disappeared, then fled rather than renew leases. The desperation shows in the tenants now filling spaces once occupied by luxury brands. A CBD store where Burberry used to be, a discount luggage shop in the former Ted Baker location, pop-up Halloween stores occupying what was once destination retail, the Cheesecake Factory and Joe's Seafood, once surrounded by luxury shopping, now anchor a mall that feels more like a suburban strip center than Vegas's premier retail destination. Even the remaining luxury stores operate differently. Louis Vuitton and Gucci reduced hours, closing at 9 p.m. instead of midnight. Hermès requires appointments, not because of demand, but because they don't want to staff an empty store. The Apple Store, once the Forum Shop's highest-grossing location west of the Mississippi, reported a 40% sales decline year over year. When even Apple can't make money in your mall, you're not just struggling, you're finished. And the collapse of the Forum Shops is dragging down everything around it, creating a vortex of failure that even Gordon Ramsay can't escape. Number 7. When Gordon Ramsay can't fill tables. Gordon Ramsay Hell's Kitchen at Caesars Palace should be impossible to get into. Based on one of television's most popular shows with a celebrity chef who commands $235 for a beef Wellington, this restaurant was designed to print money. Yet on a recent Saturday at 8 p.m. prime dinner hour in Vegas, you could walk in without a reservation and be seated immediately. The hostess didn't even pretend to check the system. She just grabbed menus and asked, "Booth or table?" The restaurant catastrophe extends throughout Caesars Palace like a culinary plague. Beijing noodle number 9, once so exclusive you needed casino host connections to score a table. now begs passers-by to come in with sidewalk promoters offering 30% discounts. Pronto by Giada, the celebrity chef's casual Italian spot, serves more meals to employees using their food credits than paying customers. Peter Luger Steakhouse, the legendary Brooklyn establishment's only location outside New York, regularly operates at 25% capacity, while their original location still commands 3-month waits. But nothing symbolizes the collapse quite like Bacchanal Buffet, once crowned America's best buffet by USA Today. This $17 million showcase with 9 kitchens and 500 dishes now operates Thursday through Monday only, closed 3 days a week to control costs. The $79 dinner price tag remains, but the quality has cratered. The king crab legs disappeared, replaced with snow crab. The prime rib station operates limited hours. The made-to-order soufflés that defined luxury are gone, replaced by pre-made desserts that sit under heat lamps. Even when open, entire sections remain closed, with stations that once offered Brazilian churrasco or fresh sushi now dark and empty. The food court tells an even sadder story. Johnny Rockets closed, Subway shuttered. The pizza place operates noon to 8 p.m. only. Employees report throwing away more food than they serve, as the minimal foot traffic can't support even fast food operations. One food service manager revealed they've reduced food orders by 60% compared to 2019 and still experience massive waste. The restaurants that remain open survive on momentum and hope rather than actual business. When world-famous chefs backed by massive marketing can't fill tables in Las Vegas, something fundamental has broken. And for guests who do still book rooms at Caesar's Palace, what they find behind those doors would shock anyone who remembers this property's glory days. 6. The room catastrophe. Nobody mentions Caesar's Palace operates 3,960 rooms across 6 towers, and internal maintenance reports suggest at least 1/200 of them shouldn't be occupied at all. These aren't minor issues like dated decor or worn carpets. These are health hazards, safety violations, and conditions that would shut down a Motel 6, yet somehow persist at a supposed luxury resort charging $400 nightly. The Julius Tower, the property's original building from 1966, has become uninhabitable for anyone with standards. Guests report black mold visible in bathroom ceilings, air conditioning units that haven't been serviced since before COVID, and carpets so stained they look like crime scenes. The elevators break down multiple times weekly, trapping guests for hours. One TripAdvisor review included photos of mushrooms, actual mushrooms, growing from the bathroom grout. The tower needs complete gut renovation at an estimated $300 million. Caesar's response? They discount the rooms to $89 and hope desperate tourists don't complain too loudly. The Forum Tower, built in 1979, faces catastrophic infrastructure failure. The plumbing randomly explodes, flooding rooms and forcing emergency relocations. The electrical system can't handle modern demands, with guests reporting power outages when they plug in phone chargers. The windows leak during rain, rare as that is in Vegas, creating water damage that housekeeping addresses with towels rather than repairs. Guests arriving to find their $350 room flooded, moldy, or without functioning air conditioning and 115-degree heat aren't offered refunds, just moves to equally problematic rooms in other towers. Even the premium Augustus and Octavius towers, marketed as luxury accommodations, suffer from deferred maintenance that destroys any pretense of quality. Elevators in Augustus Tower operate at 40% capacity, with waits exceeding 30 minutes during peak times. The pool view rooms in Octavius feature windows so clouded with mineral deposits from years without proper cleaning that you can barely see outside. The much-hyped renovation of Palace Tower rooms in 2018 used the cheapest possible materials, with furniture literally falling apart, bathroom fixtures breaking within months, and televisions from 2015 still being installed as upgraded amenities. The human impact is devastating. Families saving for years for a Caesar's Palace vacation arrive to find conditions worse than budget motels. Business travelers who once insisted on Caesar's for conferences now actively avoid it. Review scores have plummeted to 3.1 stars on major platforms, with disgusting rooms and health hazard appearing in hundreds of reviews. But perhaps nothing has damaged Caesar's reputation more than their betrayal of the very customers who built their empire. Number 5. The rewards program betrayal. Caesar's Rewards was once the gold standard of casino loyalty programs. Players spent decades, literally decades, building their tier status, earning Diamond and 7 stars levels that meant something. Free rooms, dinner credits, no resort fees, priority check-in, and most importantly, respect. Then El Dorado took over, and in less than 2 years, destroyed what took 40 years to build. The gutting started subtly. Diamond members, who used to receive automatic room upgrades, found themselves in standard rooms unless they paid. The $100 annual dinner credit became $50, then disappeared entirely. Free parking, a Diamond perk since the program's inception, suddenly required validation that mysteriously stopped working. The dedicated Diamond check-in lines were eliminated, forcing loyal customers to wait with tourists who booked on Expedia. The message was clear: your loyalty means nothing. But the real betrayal came with the comp calculations. Players who earned complimentary rooms and meals through decades of play watched their offers evaporate overnight. The algorithm was adjusted to value only recent play, ignoring years of loyalty. A player who gambled $50,000 annually for 20 years suddenly received the same offers as someone who just signed up. Hosts, the human connection between players and casinos, saw their discretionary comp budget slashed by 80%. They couldn't even offer a buffet to save a relationship. 7 stars members, the ultra elite who wagered millions, faced the ultimate insult. Their guaranteed suite upgrades became subject to availability, which somehow never existed. The annual trip worth up to $5,000 was devalued to $2,500. The dedicated 7 stars lounges closed for renovation and never reopened. Even the annual dinner meant to honor their loyalty was canceled in 2023, replaced with an email thanking them for their play. The exodus was immediate and brutal. Diamond and 7 stars members took their play to Wynn's Red Card program, MGM's M Life, or simply stopped gambling altogether. One high roller posted his annual loss statement showing $3.2 million wagered at Caesars properties over 15 years, with a simple message: never again. The database that was once Caesars' most valuable asset, millions of loyal players, became worthless when those players realized their loyalty was not reciprocated. When you destroy trust that took generations to build, you don't just lose customers, you lose your entire foundation. And while Caesars was busy betraying their loyal players, their employees were making their own calculations about the future. Number 4. The staff exodus crisis. The employee parking garage at Caesars Palace tells the story better than any financial report. Once packed by 6 a.m. with dealers, hosts, and service staff proud to work at Vegas's most iconic property, it now sits half empty even during peak shifts. The best employees, the ones who knew every high roller by name and could recite the property's history like poetry, have fled to competitors who actually value experience and institutional knowledge. The bloodletting started at the top. Veteran casino hosts with 20-year relationships managing million-dollar players were told their salaries would be cut by 30% or they could leave. They left, taking their black books of contacts straight to Wynn and Aria. One host who managed $50 million in annual play took his entire client list to Resorts World, literally walking 15 players worth $30 million in theoretical win out the door. The decade-long relationships, the trust built over thousands of hours at tables, gone because Caesars wanted to save $40,000 on a salary. The dealer situation is even more catastrophic. Caesars once employed the best dealers in Vegas, professionals who could run any game, handle difficult players with grace, and make guests feel like royalty. Those dealers now work elsewhere, replaced by recent dealing school graduates who don't know the difference between a horn bet and a hard way. They can't calculate payouts quickly, don't understand player superstitions, and worst of all, don't care. Why would they? Caesars cut dealer tips pooling, reduced break times, and eliminated the health insurance subsidy. The professionals went to Circa, which actively recruited them with signing bonuses and respect. The institutional knowledge hemorrhage extends everywhere. The concierge who could get impossible reservations anywhere in Vegas, gone to Bellagio. The bar staff who remembered every regular's drink, poached by Wynn. The valet team that knew every high roller's car, now parking cars at Aria. Even housekeeping supervisors with 15 years experience jumped ship rather than manage impossible workloads with skeleton crews. What remains is a workforce of people who need a job. Any job, not professionals proud to work at Caesar's Palace. The service collapse is noticeable immediately. New dealers constantly make mistakes, causing arguments and slowing games. Cocktail waitresses don't know the property layout, wandering lost instead of serving drinks. Front desk agents can't answer basic questions about the property's history or amenities. One guest reported asking a bellman about the best restaurant on property and being told, "I don't know, I just started yesterday." That's not service. It's amateur hour at what was once the ultimate professional operation. But why would quality staff stay when just down the street, newer properties are offering everything Caesars can't? Number 3. The competition massacre. While Caesar's Palace crumbles under debt and neglect, 3 properties are executing a masterclass in stealing its customers. Resorts World, Circa, and even the struggling Fontainebleau all offer something Caesars can't: hope for a better experience. The massacre isn't happening through marketing or promotions. It's happening because these properties simply care more about their guests. Resorts World opened with $4.3 billion in fresh investment, and it shows in every detail. Their rooms feature technology that actually works, bathrooms without mold, and air conditioning that doesn't sound like jet engines. Their casino offers 3.2 blackjack at 25 minimums, while Caesars pushes 6.5 games at the same price. Their restaurants are staffed by people who want to be there, not employees counting days until they can escape. When a Caesars regular walks into Resorts World and experiences actual hospitality, they don't walk back. Circa Downtown is destroying Caesars' sports betting dominance with a simple strategy: treat bettors like valued customers, not ATMs. Their 3-story sportsbook offers better odds, higher limits, and doesn't charge for drinks if you're actively betting. Compare that to Caesars' sportsbook, where you need to bet $50 just to get a complimentary beer, and the book itself feels like a forgotten basement. Circa's owner Derek Stevens personally greets guests, while Caesars executives hide in corporate offices in Reno, invisible and indifferent. Even Fontainebleau, despite its own struggles, is successfully poaching Caesars customers simply by being new. Their rooms may be overpriced, but at least the sheets are clean and the toilets flush reliably. Their pools may be empty, but they're not closed for maintenance that never happens. When the bar for competition is basic functioning amenities and Caesars can't clear it, the customer theft becomes inevitable. The numbers are brutal. Market share data shows Caesars Palace's share of center strip gaming revenue has dropped from 18% in 2019 to under 11% today. Their table game drop has decreased 40% year over year. Slot revenue is down 35%, hotel occupancy barely breaks 75%, while Wynn maintains 92%. The customer migration isn't subtle. It's a stampede away from a property that no longer deserves its reputation. And as if internal failures weren't enough, external forces have turned Caesars' once prime location into a liability. Number 2, the location curse. Turned reality, Caesars Palace sits at what was once the most valuable real estate on earth, center strip, across from Bellagio, walking distance to everything. That location was worth billions. Now it's become a trap, surrounded by chaos that drives customers away faster than any competitor could. The Formula One race was supposed to showcase Vegas to the world. For Caesars Palace, it became a nightmare that exposed every weakness. Construction destroyed strip access for 8 months. The race itself blocked entrances, created massive traffic jams, and made reaching the property nearly impossible for 3 days. Caesars spent millions on viewing parties and packages that nobody bought because nobody could get there. Locals who once gambled there regularly simply gave up and found other casinos. The international attention the race brought, it showed millions of viewers a property with obvious maintenance issues and empty rooms, while announcers talked about Vegas's grand revival. The homeless crisis has reached Caesars' doorstep in ways that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. The pedestrian bridges connecting to Bellagio are now encampments. Tourists report being aggressively panhandled trying to walk between properties. The Link Promenade, once a bustling pathway to Caesars, feels dangerous after dark. Families with children actively avoid the area. The county's solution was to install classical music to discourage loitering, as if Beethoven could solve systemic social collapse. Construction chaos compounds the location disaster. The Mirage demolition sends dust clouds across the street daily. The new baseball stadium construction means 2 more years of heavy machinery and closed roads. Every major development project seems positioned to make accessing Caesars Palace harder. The monorail station that once delivered thousands daily reduced service by 30%. The underground tunnels connecting properties closed for security reasons and never reopened. Even the famous moving sidewalk that helped people reach Caesars broke in 2023 and remains unfixed. The location that once guaranteed success now guarantees frustration. Uber drivers refuse pickups during peak times because the traffic makes it unprofitable. Tour buses skip Caesars because loading takes too long. Convention attendees choose other hotels simply to avoid the commute hassle. The center of the Strip has become a place to avoid rather than a destination. And when the center dies, what happens to the city built around it? Number 1. The death of an icon. Caesars Palace isn't just another casino. It's the property that taught America that Vegas could be more than mob-run gambling halls in the desert. This is where Evel Knievel jumped fountains, where Sinatra defined the Vegas residency, where every major boxing match that mattered took place. When Caesars Palace fails, it's not just a business collapse, it's the end of an era and potentially the beginning of Vegas's own ending. The symbolism cuts deep. If a property this iconic, this central, this historically important can't survive, what chance do others have? Caesars Palace proved Vegas could compete with Monte Carlo and Macau for luxury gambling. Its collapse proves that Vegas has lost its way, choosing financial engineering over customer experience, debt service over basic maintenance, cost-cutting over the very hospitality that built the city. The ripple effects are already visible. When Caesars Palace can't fill rooms, every property suffers from the perception that Vegas itself is declining. Convention planners who once saw Vegas as essential now wonder if the city has peaked. International tourists who dreamed of staying where James Bond played baccarat find a property that feels more like Detroit's bankruptcy than Rome's glory. The empty Colosseum, the shuttered restaurants, the casino floor that sounds more like a library than a party, they all send the same message. The dream is dying. But here's the truly terrifying part. Caesars Palace is too big to fail gracefully. With 4,000 rooms, massive convention space, and center strip location, its complete collapse would create a black hole that could drag down neighboring properties. Imagine the Forum shops completely shuttered, the casino floor dark, the towers standing empty like monuments to hubris. That image would define Vegas for a generation, the same way images of imploded casinos define previous eras of failure. The executives at Caesars Entertainment claim they have a turnaround plan. They'll invest strategically, improve selectively, and return to glory eventually. But the math doesn't support hope. The debt payments alone prevent meaningful investment. The customer betrayal has gone too far to repair with a new paint job. The staff who made Caesars special work elsewhere now. The competition has already stolen the future. When Caesars Palace opened in 1966, it promised that everyone could live like Caesar. In 2025, it's proving that even Caesars Palace can crumble. The question isn't whether Caesars Palace can recover. It's whether Las Vegas itself can survive the death of its most important icon. Because when the empire's crown jewel shatters, the empire itself rarely survives. And for everyone who loves Vegas, who believes in the dream it sold for 60 years, watching Caesars Palace die feels like watching the funeral of possibility itself.